write this year, I think that I learned so many things about writing. And I learned a lot of those things from my Professor Blackburn. Beginning of Project 5, I wanted to go through my journal and see just like what I was most proud of. And I wanted to see what's like the biggest thing I learned. And I came across some notes that we took at the beginning of the year about global and local edits. Underneath global edits, we said that the most important things to look for is arrangement, paragraphing, clarity, flow, and informational management. And for local edits, of course, we looked at we said the most important things to do or to look for were more like grammar, punctuation, syntax, like smaller things like that go into an essay. When I looked at these notes, I saw that the global edits were something that I really grew to be better at in WRA. Of course, the local edits, I wouldn't say that my grammar and things are the best, but I think throughout my whole educational experience, I think that, of course, like locally, I would, of course, go through my essays and be like, oh, let me put a comma there, let me put this there. But I don't think I ever looked at my papers globally. I don't think I ever said, let me rearrange this. Let me see if it flows. Let me see if I have a good enough analysis. Going to WRA, I think that those are the biggest things that I learned from this class, because before I just didn't even bother to look at that through any of my papers. Going through WRA, I think that globally my writing has become just so much better. I think from looking at these notes, I will say that the three biggest things that I have grown in through WRA, through all my work, is my reflection and analysis, my paragraphing and arrangement, and my editing skills when it comes to my own papers and when it comes to my peers' papers. The first piece of evidence I kind of want to tackle is my reflection and analysis. So before WRA, I think that I was pretty subpar with my reflection and analysis. I think that I covered a lot of different things, and I think that I was pretty good at expressing myself. But I think through WRA, I've learned so much more about reflecting and analysis. I learned that there's a descriptive part of it, there's an analytical part of it, there's an expressive part of it. I think throughout the year, I really strive to get that better. Projects 2 and Projects 3. I think Project 2 is kind of like my baby step into being better with reflection analysis, but Project 3, I think that I really strive to do well. And I saw that I did well when I met with Professor Blackburn in her office. She said that the highest grade that I got for my project for the rubric was my analysis and was my research and reflections, which I was really proud of because that's something I really strive to work on throughout the year. The next piece of evidence that I have that supports how I globally became much better as a writer was through arrangement and paragraphing. So arrangement and paragraphing is something that I never really thought of until I got to WRA. I actually was really stuck in the five-page paragraph essays. I constantly wrote those throughout high school. No one ever told me that they were kind of not great to do, so I always just did them. And from coming to WRA, I've really just learned that your essays don't have to be 5 paragraphs. If there's a shift in your paragraphs, you probably should make a new one. The biggest piece of writing that I did this year that I saw that my arrangement, my paragraphing became much better was actually Project 1. So at the beginning of the year, we wrote Project 1, and mine was, of course, was a 5-page paragraph essay. Some of my paragraphs taking up almost whole entire pages. And I didn't even realize that there were so many shifts between all those paragraphs. There were so many different ideas all jammed into one that needed to kind of be separated. So now turning in my Project 1 at the end of the year or the end of the semester, I now have 9 different paragraphs, which is something that beginning of the year in high school, I would have never ever wrote something like that, where you can have as many paragraphs as you want because there's so many shifts in your ideas and your writing. So that's another way that I think that I've grown in WRA globally. I think that I can now look at my writing and see, like, I need to make a new paragraph. I need to fix my arrangement. I need to fix my paragraphing. I think that I've grown in that. The last thing that I think I grew a lot in WRA was my editing skills. So going back to the global and local edits, I always looked at my writing and other people's writing locally. But I think throughout the year, I have looked at my own writing and looked at other people's writing, and I've taken the more global side of editing, and I've said maybe you should change your arrangement here. Your intro and conclusion could be a little bit stronger. I think that through my peer editing, a lot of like the letters that we received back from peer edits, Maddie and both Maddie and Raven said that my editing really helped them, and I think that that was because of the global and local edits that we learned at the beginning of the year. I didn't just say like, oh, this is great, maybe just fix your punctuation. I was giving them actual skills to fix their global edits and to fix the local ones too. And I think that's the last thing that I think that I really became much stronger this year. So reflecting on the semester of WRA, I've really just become almost a brand new writer. I think that I knew some aspects of writing before, but I didn't know a ton. And going through my journal, me seeing the global and local editing notes that we took, I think that all the things that we listed for the important side of global edit, I think that I have really grown in that this year. Some of the goals that I have just throughout going to MSU and throughout my life is just to enjoy writing. I think that WRA really taught me to enjoy my writing, and because I can now look at it in a whole different lens and see what's good and what's not good about it. Learning these skills throughout this class, I loved going to WRA because I loved learning about my writing. I loved learning how to improve it, and I think that I still have a lot of room for improvement, but I think that I've made a big step into my writing.